Welcome to Talking Movies. We got Cakes and Luke here today.
Hey there, guys.
My coffee's over here. Sorry. Yeah, just Cakes and Luke. We got our feet up, having a good time. Well, Luke,
Puppies are keeping me warm.
Puppies are keeping us warm. What'd you see lately?
I've seen some animated movies recently. I watched Frankenweenie.
You're going through the animated Oscars.
I'm gonna try.
Yeah.
We'll see. I saw Frankenweenie. It was all right. Actually, it was a little more emotional than I thought it was gonna be. A lot more heart than I thought. A lot better than Corpse Bride. That was awful. But yeah, I mean, I like stop motion animation, so it's always kind of cool to see. I feel like I'm kind of over the whole Tim Burton thing, but I know it's kind of a personal project of his, so I'll kind of give it to him. But it's a nice movie, maybe a good movie for like kids on Halloween. And then I watched Brave, Pixar's Brave. I liked it. It was really, animation's great, beautiful, good cast and stuff, full of Scots and Brits.
My kids watched that. They didn't really say anything about it. They said it was good. Of course, they say everything was good, but
yet again, I didn't love it either, like other Pixar movies. But it's a nice story about like a mother and daughter relationship, which I don't feel like you see a whole lot, especially in kid movies.
Sure.
But yeah, I don't know. Maybe just because it was the whole princess thing, I just kind of princess and witches and magic. So I don't know. Maybe I wasn't totally into it, but it was nice. I think it's a fine movie for kids and things, but I didn't love it. But the animation's great in it, though. Of course, Pixar outdoes themselves.
Cool. I watched Hump Day the other night.
Oh, that's a good one.
I'm apparently very slowly going through the Mark Duplass collection in terms of his movies and his acting career, but not necessarily on purpose. It just happened to be that way. But yeah, a couple good friends have recommended that movie since I liked Safety Not Guaranteed so much, and this is a little more low budget, but very interesting to say the least. I won't spoil it for anything, but the name is rather hilarious now that I've seen the movie. But yeah, it's an interesting movie. Good. It's a story of a married couple, and this friend of the married man comes to visit them, and some interesting things happen. I really don't want to spoil it for you. It is a little low budget, but an interesting story. I feel like I say the word interesting about 57 times every podcast, but it is an interesting story about the marriage relationship and the friend relationship.
Yeah, it seems like it's pretty honest about kind of getting older. That's what I mean. I'm not married with children, but kind of what I visualize it would be kind of like.
Yeah, very very easy to relate to. So definitely. Also watched the premiere of Ripper Street. That was, I guess, 2 weeks ago or a week ago. This past Saturday. Didn't watch it this week. Not on purpose. It was just I was working. But the first episode it's a BBC show set in the aftermath, I should say, of the Jack the Ripper murders. At this time the murders have stopped for a little while, so they think he's either dead or whatever. Dead, I guess. It starts with another murder that's made to look like something that Jack the Ripper would have done, and I won't go into the schematics of it or whatever, but it was that particular episode ended up pretty twisted, pretty sadistic. I was little off-put and a little surprised that it went as far as it did, but yeah, I mean it was.
PBS played it or BBC?
BBC. It was pretty, for lack of a better term, stripped down. They really got to the nitty gritty of it. So
usually Britain's pretty non-violent.
Yeah, not
to a certain degree.
Yeah, not in this kind of thing. Of course, it looked amazing. They had looked like a Dickens novel come to life. Just really just dark and dingy and It stars Matthew McFadden, who, for whatever reason, I'm not necessarily a big fan of, but I've ended up watching just a lot of his things because I like the movies that he's in just perchance. Not crazy about the guy, but he does a good job. He's a good actor. I got nothing against him. I just really don't really like. I'm not going to go out of my way to watch a movie just because he's in it. That's for sure. Yeah. He's no Bokeem Woodbine. But anyway, what else have you seen lately, Luke?
I watched Pitch Perfect. Pretty funny. Usually I don't like those kind of movies, but I don't know, something about it was just off enough that I kind of liked it, and music was fun and catchy, and just a really nice, funny movie. Like, I can't really say much more about it. It was just, a bunch of girls, they do a cappella singing, and they do mashups. I know it sounds like a really weird episode of Glee, but it really works, and the songs are really good, and the cast, I think, to me, is just what makes it great.
Yeah, very good cast. I thought, I've seen it too, obviously, and I thought the music was fun. I didn't really view it as a musical, so it's a musical that you could like if you don't like musicals. But yeah, good characters. Anna Kendrick's a very good actress.
Incredible.
Some other pretty good looking ladies in that movie as well. I won't get into that, but yeah, I thought it was good. It was just kind of a fun story, and I really liked the love interest of Anna Kendrick in there, how he was so into movies, scores, and soundtracks and stuff. I thought that was kind of cool. That's something that you don't expect from a movie like that. There's certainly, I don't know, there was certainly a lot of thought that went into him, and I mean, it's not like I've never seen Glee, so I can't really compare it to that, but it's not like it's a Stomp the Yard or Bring It On or anything. There's a little more depth to it.
Yeah.
I guess I haven't seen any of those movies either, so maybe I shouldn't say that.
Yeah.
But
it was light.
I have seen You've Got Served, and it was way better than that.
It was light and fun, but wasn't stupid.
Yeah, definitely. How about that projectile vomiting? Not to spoil it for anybody, but you should know that because if you have a problem with that.
Yeah, I wasn't expecting it, but I thought it was pretty funny.
Especially the one at the end. There was some people falling in it. But anyway. I also just finished last night. I finished the first season of Girls. Good show. I kind of was drawn to it because of its Golden Globe accolades, but very good show. Like again, when you see something that's nominated for an award, when you go into that, you kind of expect something to grab your eye, something to impress you, and it really impressed me. It was they don't necessarily hold anything back, so it's a pretty graphic show. Yeah. But it's I think it was just really good. I just really liked the way it was written. There was a lot of thought process went into it. I mean, it was nothing that was thrown together. You can tell it was very, very well written, and I think Lena Dunham created, wrote it, directed it. Produced it with the help of Judd Apatow and some other people. So yeah, it was. She's certainly deserving of all the awards I think she's won. Have you seen that?
Yeah, it's a great show. She has a great team. Not like a laugh a minute, but it's a really good series. Yeah, and doesn't hold anything back. It's really honest, really out there.
It just really captures the life of people in their mid-20s. Obviously, it's a little bit different because it's New York City, and we don't all live in a big city like that, but they're kind of in their own little neighborhood, in their own little world, so to speak, and it's...
Yeah, that was my problem. I was like, a bunch of, well-to-do white girls, and in the big city, I'm like, I don't know if I could relate to that, but you're really, it's pretty universal, I think, for the most part, so...
Lena Dunham's boyfriend in that, too, is just, I don't like him at all, but I can't, his character is so interesting because it's, he's got so much depth, but he doesn't always seem like he's always there. I don't know, mentally or whatever. I mean, no offense against the guy. Obviously, it's a character that was written for him, but it's just, he's just a kind of a up and down character. I don't know if he's bipolar or what, but he's kind of all over the place and very dramatic and what
weirds you out at times.
Yeah, I mean,
and then, he has a small role in Lincoln, and and I couldn't shake it for a while.
Yeah. So. Did he have his shirt on?
Yeah, he did.
I think he's got his shirt on in maybe 2 scenes in that whole first season. But anyway. Also, I've been up to date on Downton Abbey. Interesting episode this week.
I still haven't seen it.
Yeah,
so
I'm not gonna go into it, but yeah, it was. Excuse me. If you're a fan of that show, I'm sure you probably watched it, and it's kind of a sad episode, and not necessarily something I was expecting. But again, it's a good show. I'm a little surprised how just kind of drab it's been this year. It's just there hasn't been a lot of happy moments, and even when there is a happy moment, it just kind of gets chopped at the knees, and then the next episode starts. It's a good show. It's a great show. Again, I'm not really seeing why that show is so worldly popular, because it's not very far off from anything PBS has been doing for like the last 10 years.
Mm-hmm.
They do stuff like this all the time. The Brits are very much involved in writing shows and books, or maybe shows necessarily, or TV shows or miniseries about England during the time of World War I and World War II,
mm-hmm.
the 1920s to the 1950s. And they do it so well because they have such a great perspective, such a more frontline perspective than we have, since it was, Germany kind of invading Europe and whatnot, and taking over the British Isles and then going in there. And I know Downton Abbey's a little bit before that World War II, but they do such a great job with that. So, if you like Downton Abbey, you really need to go back and see what, I'm sure I've talked about this before, but you see what they've been doing the last 10 years. Foyle's War, Island at War, first things that pop into my mind, they're all really good shows. Foyle's War is a mystery series. There's about 5 seasons of that, and the Island at War is another mini-series. I think that's about 5 or 6 hours long. Let's see, what else have you seen lately, Luke?
Just speaking of old BBC shows, I just finished watching the series Fawlty Towers with John Cleese and Connie Smith.
Too, yeah.
Really, really funny.
Mm-hmm.
It's old and it's, a little dated at times. Sometimes like that kind of farce gets me, like, even with like Arrested Development, as much as I love those shows, I start feeling bad because like everything is like so fast, and it's all because someone just couldn't tell the truth, and it's one thing after another, and it keeps building and building. Like I think it's just the anticipation kind of gets to me, or I just feel bad for the characters. Nothing's working out, but it's not. That's my own personal hang up, so it's nothing. No criticism, but it's a great show though. Really funny. John Cleese is just hilarious in it. Just this innkeeper who doesn't like guests and just annoyed by everybody, and I think everyone can kind of relate to that wherever you work. And he's just incredibly rude, and he always gets himself in trouble because he's trying to hide something from his wife. But really great cast, and it's just so nice to see like an old fashioned TV comedy.
Yeah, that show.
Sometimes it's just refreshing, kind of get back to the roots.
Mm-hmm. That show is certainly a little dated, but yeah, it's got some great timeless moments too.
Oh yeah.
It's been a while since I've seen that whole series, but yeah, it's a good show.
Yeah, it's definitely worth watching. Of course, it's BBC, so there's only like 6 episodes.
It's one of those interesting shows where you can't like. It's kind of. It's not like it, but it's in a sense, it's like the show Community, where like. That show started out as Joel McHale as the main character. The same thing with John Cleese and Fawlty Towers, where it's like they're the main character and they're kind of the focus early on, but you don't like them. You know what I mean? It's like you understand kind of where they're coming from, and you almost know too much about them to like them. But the show is great nonetheless. It's fun to watch their ride, even if you're not crazy about the main lead character, which is something. Not necessarily very easy to pull off, because I've seen shows where there's no likable characters, and I just am done with the show right away. So if they can achieve that, I think it's a pretty good show.
Well, in Fawlty Towers, they have characters you like, and I think it's just kind of like an old fashioned you laugh at a fool, because that's he's pretty much just like a George Costanza. He's kind of a foolish guy.
Yeah, well,
but you kind of root for him at the same time because you just kind of feel bad for him.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Same thing, same thing with Community, I still am never crazy about Joe McHale's character Jeff in that, but I love Abed is awesome. Troy is awesome. I think everybody else does a really good job in that show. Even the dean of students is just great. He's just crazy. But anyway, that's a good show. That's coming back in February if you're a fan of NBC comedies. I think that's gonna come back when 30 Rock is officially done. I think there's only one episode of 30 Rock left, which is kind of sad. But it'll be interesting to see what Tina Fey does next. If she wants to take a break, I'm sure she can. She's done well for herself. She's still one of the funniest ladies out there in comedy.
Maybe just take a break and chill out and get back to work.
Yeah, definitely. Once again, the Mindy Project. I'm in love with the show. I'm in love with Mindy. It's a great show. Pretty awesome again last week. Modern Family was awesome too. They did a really good Godfather spoof, and since I had just watched that movie this past fall, it was really fresh into my head. So the last episode of that was really good with Luke and Phil doing a nice little spoof on the Godfather. So that was a fun show to watch. Always is. That show has just almost never let me down. I can only think of maybe 1 or 2 episodes of that show so far that I'm just like,
That's a great show.
Yeah, and then it's one of those great shows too. When you rewatch it, you catch so much. Good show. But anyway, anything else you've seen lately?
The last thing I'll end with is it's a little movie. Probably not a lot of people have seen it. It's called My Son, What Ha Ye Done? And
foreign film? Is that?
It's American, but it's directed by Werner Herzog, famous German director who did Grizzly Man and Bad Lieutenant and tons of other German movies. Just IMDb him or Wikipedia, his story. He has one of the most interesting life stories in the world. He has saved Joaquin Phoenix from a car wreck. He's gotten shot. He fell on cactuses. He's pushed a full-size ship up a mountain for a movie, which there's a documentary about. And then also it's produced by David Lynch and stars Michael Shannon. And it also has like a whole cast of really good weird actors. Like Michael Shannon's in it, Willem Dafoe, Chloe Sevigny, Grace Sebeski, and Michael Pena, and like Brad Dwarf. Just every kind of character actor you've imagined is in it. But it's good. It's just about an actor who is obsessed with Greek plays, and he's kind of a mama's boy, and he ends up killing his mom in the style of a Greek tragedy. And it's just kind of like leading up to it in flashbacks and stuff. It's very dreamlike and kind of weird. It's maybe just a little too self-aware, but if you like weird actors or if you're feeling for like a weird movie, I definitely recommend it. It's not out there weird, but it's just
and entertaining nonetheless.
Yeah, and it's just this dreamy murder story, pretty much. So, and then that's where it's definitely worth watching if like you like any of those actors. Cool. Really good performances. So,
well, I can almost guarantee next time we do a podcast, I will have watched Taken 2, so you have that to look forward to me. My review on that. I don't care what Blake says. I'm gonna watch it. I'm not saying I'm gonna like it, but I probably will.
Forget Blake.
Since I was gonna just have you go through since we talked about animated movies earlier, just maybe go through for the fans who are trying to maybe watch one of those with their kids. Maybe go through and give them some grades. I'm gonna give Hump Day a B+. Weirdness keeps it from an A- for me, but since that was the only movie you talked about, that's the only grade I'm gonna give you. B+ for Hump Day. What do you got for some of the animated Oscars?
I would give Frankenweenie a B, good solid B. I would give Brave B+, a solid B+. And then just go through the rest of them too, or just those two?
Just if didn't you see Brave Frankenweenie? Did you see another animated one? I thought you were going through all the Oscars.
I was thinking about it.
Okay.
But I don't think I've gotten that far. I think those are only two that I saw.
What about My Son, My Son?
Oh, My Son, My Son. Well, I'd give that a good B too. Nothing really blew me away. And then Pitch Perfect a B plus, and then Fawlty Towers. Since it's so old and it still holds up and made me laugh, I'll give it an A minus.
All right.
And John Cleese's physicality is hilarious.
Yeah, definitely. So, all right, this has been Talking Movies. Thank you for watching or listening or whatever you're doing. Hopefully we'll see you next week. Take care.